The streets were already quite empty. Even though it was only 10:30 p.m., a car was moving slowly because the driver was busy talking on an earpiece. Suddenly, a 1,200cc motorcycle grazed the car's body, causing the driver to pull over. Oh, damn. A young man pulled over his large motorcycle. Despite his rough appearance, he had to uphold a sense of responsibility. He removed his helmet and looked at the man stepping out of the supercar and walking towards him. From the man's expression alone, the young man was certain that this was going to be a long ordeal, especially when he saw the damage on the multi-million-dollar supercar he had just grazed. "Come here, boy," a charismatic man in his late 20s said. His stern facial features and piercing gaze, combined with a deep voice, were enough to make the young man a bit fearful. Feeling guilty clearly made the young man afraid. Even though it was unintentional, he had damaged the expensive car of the man in front of him. "I'm sorry, don't worry. I will definitely compensate for it," the young man said with a regretful face. Jungkook took a deep breath, hands on his hips, and started interrogating with a sharp look. "What's your name and age?" "I'm Lucas, 18 years old." The older man accepted Lucas's handshake with a frown on his forehead. "I'm Jungkook. Who will take responsibility for this?" Jungkook pointed at the body of his car. Lucas immediately took out his phone and made a quick call. "Hold on, I'll call my family." Jungkook nodded, then put his hands in his pockets while leaning against his beloved car. He was actually reluctant to deal with such matters, but the McLaren 720 was the first car he bought purely from his hard work after officially taking over his father's company. If it had been one of his other cars that got scratched, he wouldn't have bothered asking for compensation from the young man who was around his brother's age. It wasn't that Jungkook couldn't afford to repair it. He had plenty of money, but his annoyance with the young man triggered him to extend the issue, especially since it was his favorite car. Jungkook watched Lucas, who seemed to be pleading, persuading, and making random gestures while asking for help from the person on the other end of the call. He chuckled softly, shaking his head. The person Lucas was talking to on the phone wouldn't even know about his body language right now. A few minutes later, Lucas smiled. It seemed he managed to get help from his family. "My big sister will be here. Please wait a moment." Lucas put his phone back in his pocket, sitting on his red sports bike, a gift from his father for his 17th birthday. Seeing Lucas's appearance and bike, Jungkook could clearly tell that Lucas must come from a wealthy family, so he wasn't worried about the young man's ability to take responsibility for his mistake. If it had been a poor person who had grazed his car, it would have been a different story. Jungkook would have let that person go. Bro, I'm sorry for scratching your car. I really didn't mean to. I was avoiding a cat earlier." Lucas explained the incident. Finally, Jungkook softened his expression when he realized the young man's polite attitude, which contrasted with his rough appearance. "It's okay. I just need a witness and someone responsible to make my insurance claim easier." Lucas sighed in relief as Jungkook started to soften his face and his sharp gaze became more relaxed and friendly. "I'm grateful you're not a hot-tempered guy who would punch my handsome face. Brother, it seems you're wiser and more patient than I first thought." Lucas flashed a wide grin, showing his teeth, while Jungkook smiled thinly at Lucas's antics. "I was going to get angry, but you're the same age as my brother. I can imagine what it would be like if my brother were in your position. Besides, you've explained your reason, so, yeah, I just need your good intentions so the insurance company believes this isn't a staged accident." Lucas was no longer as awkward as before and felt more comfortable talking to Jungkook. "Where is your brother now? Is he studying abroad?" "No, he's here. His name is Mark, a student at Jungkook University." "Mark? Wow, it really is a small world. Mark is my friend. We're in the same class and pretty close." So you know Mark?" "Yes, we're quite close. He once told me he has an older brother who runs their company in Italy. So, it turns out it's you." Lucas was almost popping his eyes out in surprise at the coincidence. The man he had a minor issue with was the brother of his partner in crime at college. Now the world felt as small as a ping pong ball to him. After that, the two spent their time waiting for Lucas's sister, chatting and laughing together. More than 30 minutes passed with mutual laughter. However, Lucas's cheerful face suddenly turned tense when a red sports car pulled up in front of his similarly colored bike. The car's driver's door opened, revealing a woman with a perfectly proportioned body. Jungkook observed the girl from head to toe, feeling like he was seeing a real-life Barbie doll. Long legs, a slim figure, a cute face, and beautiful round eyes. Honestly, for a moment, Jungkook was captivated by the living mannequin in front of him. With an elegant face that looked both arrogant and charming, the girl seemed to be around his age, maybe the same or slightly younger. The girl stepped confidently towards Lucas. "Lucas, what trouble have you caused this time?" the Barbie-like girl yelled. holding a baseball bat ready to swing at her brother. Lucas shrank back, running around his bike to avoid his sister's wrath as she listed all the troubles he'd caused in the past month. The girl grew tired as her attempts to hit Lucas yielded no results, even damaging his sports bike's tank in the process. Lucas sought refuge behind Jungkook, who had been watching the siblings' antics without moving. Yin became more uncontrollable, swinging the baseball bat wildly until one strong swing brought her back to her senses. Jungkook now looked at the object that had just fallen near his feet, then stared sharply into the round eyes of the girl in front of him while Lucas displayed a shocked expression, mouth agape. It wasn't Lucas or Jungkook's body that Yin had hit but the side mirror of the multi-million-dollar car, now broken from her random baseball bat swing. At that moment, Yin realized that besides Lucas and herself, someone else had been watching her crazy behavior while angry at Lucas. "What's wrong with you?" Sorry, I didn't mean to." Yin grimaced, realizing her mistake. The only unclassy side she had was her explosive temper, making her look like a madwoman when extremely angry or upset by Lucas's antics. "But don't worry, a new car will arrive in less than a month." Jungkook turned around to the left side where Lucas was hiding behind his back, seeking protection. "What's your sister's name?" Lucas leaned forward and whispered in Jungkook's ear, not wanting Yin to hear their conversation. "Her name is Yin, bro." Jungkook let out a short breath, then took 2 steps forward to stand right in front of Yin, who was only as tall as his strong jaw. He pierced her round eyes with his sharp gaze and took the baseball bat from her hands. "How could you intend to hit your brother with this? Are you starting to?" Jungkook paused his words, then raised his index finger to make a slanted mark in front of Yin's forehead. "Go crazy, Yin." Lucas puffed out his cheeks to stifle his laughter. It was the first time he had seen his terrifying sister rendered speechless by someone, and Yin's blank expression made Lucas's stomach tickle. It was a rare sight to see the lioness lose her fangs. Yin stood with her big, blinking eyes, looking confused. To Lucas, her fierce face seemed comical, but to Jungkook, it was utterly charming. Jungkook pressed his lips together tightly to suppress a smile. But suddenly, Jungkook groaned in pain as Yin's high heel successfully stomped on one of his feet. Even through his work shoes, it hurt because Yin had stomped quite hard. Lucas, who had been holding back his laughter, now winced in sympathy, seeing Jungkook in pain. "Serves you right. How dare you stand so close to me and call me crazy? Of course, I might go crazy dealing with my little brother who always causes trouble. How about you adopt Lucas as your brother and deal with his antics yourself?" "Hey, I'm not that bad. You don't need to throw me away, sister." Yin just gave a sarcastic smile, rolling her eyes in exasperation. Seconds later, Yin slipped her slender fingers into Jungkook's suit and took his phone, causing Jungkook to momentarily hold his breath as her hand accidentally brushed against his chest. Yin typed her phone number into his phone and then put it back, but this time her hand didn't stop. She straightened Jungkook's suit and tie with a rather suggestive gesture. "Call me about the make and model of your car. Please forgive my brother. I have to go now." After Yin left, Lucas approached Jungkook, who was standing alone, stunned. "Bro, is your foot okay? That looked really painful earlier." "Lucas, does your sister have a boyfriend? You're interested in that crazy woman?" Now Lucas laughed heartily. He couldn't understand how his crazy sister could so easily make many men fall for her. "Bro, I suggest you don't go near her. You'll just end up as another handsome guy in her collection. It's better to give your heart to another girl." Jungkook frowned. Wasn't Yin just furious and annoyed by him standing too close? And what Lucas had just said seemed to contradict her playgirl behavior. Why? What's wrong with her? If you just want to play around with her, go ahead, but don't ever use your heart. She'll just have fun with the men who fall for her. So don't let your heart get broken by my sister too. "But why, Lucas?" Jungkook asked, not understanding and genuinely curious about what Lucas was saying. Lucas lowered his head for a moment to suppress the ache in his heart, then looked at Jungkook again with a wounded smile. "Because my foolish sister will always love one man, no matter what, a jerk who still plays with her. To this day, no man can replace him in her heart." Lucas now put on his full face helmet and got on his big motorcycle. "I'm heading home, brother. Say hi to Mark for me." Jungkook just nodded slightly, and Lucas immediately rode off, leaving Jungkook standing there. A playgirl who's also being played by a playboy? Or did she become a playgirl because she's being played? Is their relationship that toxic? Jungkook stood silently for a moment, but gradually his eyes sharpened and his lips formed a thin smirk. No one can replace that man in her heart, even though she's being played by him. Really beautiful but foolish. Fine. I'll make you smart again, Barbie. Jungkook finally took out his phone and appeared to call someone. Now his dark aura became more evident. Soon, his call was answered by someone. "Yes, sir. What orders do you have for me?" Find out about the girl named Yin, and also, find out who the man she loves is. I'll send you her phone number shortly. I want you to track it tonight. Understood, sir. I'll do as you ordered. Finally, Jungkook ended the call abruptly. Let's see. Can you really not be subdued by me, Barbie? Jungkook decided against going home and instead chose to visit his friend's nightclub, looking for some conversation and his favorite wine. It had been a year since Jungkook last saw Minju, who had been busy expanding his beverage business to various countries. The last time they met was in Italy, and they had been separated by distance since then. Long time no see, Jungkook. Minju greeted warmly with outstretched arms, and they shared a brief hug. Great to see you here. How has your first week in Seoul been? Is everything going well? Jungkook took off his suit before leaning back on the sofa. Well, yeah, except for a few hours ago. What happened? Just a minor accident. My car got scratched and lost a side mirror because of a baseball bat. Jungkook's handsome face didn't show any anger, which was surprising given the situation. But for Minju, the issue was not as trivial as Jungkook made it sound. Knowing the type and cost of Jungkook's car, Minju was quite shocked. And, did the culprit take responsibility? Jungkook took a sip of the drink the bartender had prepared for him before answering Minju's concern. Not yet, but Mark knows him well. The guy is his college mate, and the guy's sister already gave me her phone number. Minju finally nodded in relief. The two mature men then engaged in light conversation, occasionally laughing. Jungkook checked his watch and realized it was time to head home, or else his younger brother Mark would complain about being neglected. No matter how fierce Mark was, he hated feeling lonely or ignored. Minju, see you again. Jungkook said his goodbyes while straightening his suit. Wait, I have a welcome gift for you. Minju held Jungkook back and then left him sitting alone for about 5 minutes. However, a girl had just entered the club, catching Jungkook's attention. Their eyes met briefly without a word until Minju returned, handing Jungkook a paper bag containing 2 bottles of Brazilian wine. Minju, who is that girl? Jungkook asked without breaking his gaze, even though the woman had already chosen a seat and started ordering a drink. Minju looked around to see what Jungkook meant. She is a VVIP member, Yin. There isn't a single Korean who doesn't know her. You don't know her because you just returned here. I know that. I mean, more detailed information about her. Minju explained the background of the woman, who seemed to have piqued his friend's interest. Oh, she is a model and the owner of 7 5-star hotels and 2 real estate complexes in Gangnam. Her father is the owner of a luxury hotel chain in Switzerland, which later opened branches in several countries. The main heir of the company is actually Lucas, the youngest, but Yin took over while her brother is still completing his education and preparing to manage Park Byung-cho's business empire. Park Byung-cho, is that her father's name? Yes. Jungkook nodded, understanding the social status of the woman he had encountered earlier. He was also quite impressed with Lucas for not flaunting their family's big name, which many people might use to boast or exert pressure on others. I don't understand why fate brought us together so quickly. It seems something is going to happen between us tonight. Barbie, you will be mine. Yin's face this time looked so frustrated, even though earlier she had only shown a brash demeanor with a haughty yet captivating aura. Jungkook could conclude that Yin had a problem that needed to be drowned out with alcohol. If she's here to have fun, Yin will come with her 3 friends, Yuna, Mina, and Yuju. But if she comes alone, it's better not to bother her. Jungkook kept a close eye on her, who had already downed 3 shots of strong liquor on her table. He took his phone from inside his suit and typed a quick message to Mark to let him know he would be home late. Looks like I'll be staying here, Minju. Oh, you should know that it was her brother who wrecked my beloved car. Jungkook subtly pointed to Yin's seat with his chin. Minju wasn't too surprised if Lucas was the one who damaged Jungkook's car because of the young man's notorious reputation on the streets. Time passed slowly as Jungkook kept stealing glances at her, who was starting to look very drunk. She managed to finish 3 bottles of vodka in less than 2 hours since her arrival. Minju, after quite some time accompanying Jungkook, who was curious about Yin, he had to leave due to a sudden call from his girlfriend. Jungkook, I'm sorry, but I have to go. Okay, I'll stay here and keep an eye on her. I don't want the only person responsible for my car to get into trouble. If she gets out of it, you can take her upstairs. The room with the ivory door is her favorite. Yin often uses that room with her men. Good luck, boss. Minju patted his shoulder before leaving him still focused on one woman. Jungkook kept his eyes locked on Yin's every move. Her alcohol tolerance is pretty high for a woman. He murmured from his seat, still watching her. When her body nearly fell off the table, he quickly moved to catch her as she started hiccuping and losing consciousness. His sigh of relief was evident as he managed to hold her. Damn drunk woman. Jungkook adjusted his position to make it easier to support Yin to the second floor. It wasn't difficult for him, with his athletic build, to carry Yin's slim frame. Once they reached the room with the ivory door, Jungkook pushed the handle. Oh my. Jungkook cursed upon seeing a couple making love on the bed. A waiter then appeared and stood right behind him. Sorry, sir. All the rooms are occupied. Jungkook sighed, then without saying much he immediately carried the unconscious Yin out of Minju's club. He put her in his car and drove home. Once inside the car, Jungkook immediately took out his phone and called his brother Mark. Mark, contact Lucas and tell him to come to my mansion. He instructed his brother over the phone. Then he drove his supercar through the streets of Seoul with the Barbie-like girl next to him. From where Mark stood, he could see that his brother's car was in bad shape. What made Mark furrow his brows even more was the familiar body in Jungkook's arms. Sister Yin, have you contacted Lucas? Yes, he's on his way here. Mark followed Jungkook, who was carrying Yin's body, up to the second floor. He still didn't understand the connection between Lucas and Yin, who was now asleep in his brother's arms. Brother, how is this possible? Don't ask too many questions, just wait for Lucas to arrive. Jungkook closed his bedroom door, leaving Mark bewildered with everything running through his mind. Lucas entered the Jungkook mansion and Mark immediately led him to the game room with a large television and 2 PlayStation controllers. Easy bro, are you looking to hit me because I wrecked your brother's car? I don't care about that. What I want to know is how your sister ended up being taken upstairs to my brother's bedroom. Wait, what? My sister? Taken by your brother? How is that possible? They parted ways earlier by the roadside. What? By the roadside? Do they have a relationship? Lucas patted the confused Mark on the shoulder and then invited him to sit down before explaining what had happened between him, Jungkook and Yin, his sister. Jungkook laid Yin's body on his bed. He pulled the blanket up to her stomach and exhaled deeply. Walking towards the bathroom, he took off his suit and loosened his tie. After showering, Jungkook put on pajamas and lay beside Yin, on her side with one hand supporting his head. He couldn't understand why Yin's face was so captivating to him, especially her plum-colored lips that would probably taste sweet if kissed. Jungkook grew more curious after gently touching Yin's face with his fingertip. Finally, Jungkook bravely leaned in to taste her lips. Yin was initially surprised, but eventually responded to his kiss gently. I said I wanted you to stay, but you're always leaving. When you're gone, I can't tell if my heart's even beating. Sometimes I think it's just for you that I live and breathe. After Jungkook ended the kiss, Yin sighed. Jungkook now saw tears streaming from her closed eyes, her furrowed brow betraying sadness. Reflexively, he gently stroked the furrow on her brow and let her continue holding him. Not knowing if this would help, Jungkook simply wanted Yin to stop crying. Are you heartbroken? Your words just now sounded quite sad. His words went unanswered by her. He waited until she released him from her embrace. Then, he left the bedroom to check if Lucas had arrived to pick up his sister. From the second floor of his mansion, Jungkook observed Mark and Lucas laughing uproariously while watching a comedy film at 5 in the morning. Lucas, you're already here? Oh bro, been here for 2 hours already. Can you take your sister home now? She looks miserable compared to her usual fierce self. She's used to being like that when she's fighting with her boyfriend. Let her sleep it off. Besides, it's already 5 a.m. Finally, Jungkook joined the 2 young men, noting how carefree and relaxed they were. Jungkook keenly grasped Lucas's comments about what he perceived as unhealthy relationship habits. It seemed Yin had been hurt too many times, hence her plea for her partner to stay without leaving. Who's her current boyfriend then? Still the same guy. My foolish sister always stuck on the same guy her whole life. Even though I've advised her countless times to find someone else who can truly love her. But well, that's how it goes. Love never chooses whom it falls upon. Who is he? Actor Lee Han-sung, last year's Oscar winner. Lucas's response was brief. Jungkook, whose interests lay primarily in business, was unfamiliar with the entertainment world, making the name sound entirely foreign to him. I used to think Sister Yin was really rebellious, but now I understand why she attracts so many other men around her. Jungkook fell silent, his mind filled with images of Yin pleading and crying earlier. What could this man have done to make a woman like Yin unable to let go of him? Yin stretched her body to loosen her muscles. She felt surprisingly comfortable from her sleep last night, unaware that she had passed out after downing 4 bottles of vodka alone. Good morning. Yin gazed at the handsome man beside her without showing surprise. Did you trap me into sleeping with you last night? The truth is, I rescued you. Be grateful that at least you woke up fully clothed. Yin peeked under the blanket covering her up to her neck and noticed she was still wearing the same clothes. Thank you. Actually, You didn't need to rescue me. It would have been better if I woke up feeling satisfied. Her words made Jungkook's jaw tighten slightly. He couldn't help but feel challenged by Yin's casual demeanor. Yin's words clearly made Jungkook's jaw tense. Was Yin accustomed to being taken advantage of by random men who found her at the bar in an unconscious state? Knowing this, last night he wouldn't have restrained himself and would have taken advantage of the opportunity. Jungkook then got up and stood from the bed. Lucas is downstairs to pick you up. It's up to you whether you want to shower first or go straight home. How about we shower together? With that challenge, Yin was now up and sitting. Jungkook turned to her, blood boiling at Yin's words that seemed to suggest he might be her next target. Jungkook couldn't deny the charm of this girl, but he disliked Yin's current attitude towards him, being merely a form of venting. He didn't like being just a temporary stopover. Are you sure you can handle it when you see me bathing? Jungkook teases with a smirk. Yin responds with a faint smile, matching his mocking smirk. Of course, I've seen plenty of sizes and only my boyfriend's impresses me. Yin replies without filtering her words. Yin might not realize that men are very sensitive when it comes to being taunted about their size, including someone like Jungkook. Therefore, there was no need to wait another second. Jungkook moved quickly, pushing her body down, so she lay on the bed with Jungkook crawling over her. His face now looked very cold, his dark aura emanating with sharp eyes. It's a pity. Your foolish mind has trapped you into loving a man who so easily sleeps with women other than you. I've just realized that if you two are indeed a suitable couple, it's just as easy to give and seek pleasure. His words left her unable to respond, as they were indeed the harsh truth. But why did Jungkook now feel like he was personally attacking her by using what he knew about her private life? Am I delusional then? You even show the most pitiful side of a woman by begging that scoundrel to stay. Jungkook continues to belittle her. Yin closes her eyes with a grimace. She deeply regrets every word that slipped out unconsciously, knowing they reveal truths she's hidden and are surely embarrassing. Every change in her expression beneath him doesn't escape his gaze. He can discern feelings of love and hate, guilt and regret in her round eyes that cannot conceal her true feelings. Then abruptly, the woman shakes her head as if to dismiss the turmoil swirling in her mind. Fine, it wounds my pride to discuss it, so please just forget it. She pushes against his broad chest, urging him to release her from his grip. She then steps into the bathroom to rid herself of the smell of alcohol on her body. I'm bathing. Care to join me? I want to see if your size can impress me or if you're just handsome. His heart begins to race uncontrollably due to the situation he's desired since last night. Yet this time, his emotions are mixed. There's anger within him. You're really allowing me to bathe with you? Just like that? Why not? You're handsome. Consider it my way of thanking you for bringing me along. Jungkook immediately approaches her, pushing her small body against the wall and kissing her intensely. She is surprised. She can tell that this man is now very angry with her. Unlike her usual experiences with kissing other men, Jungkook's kiss feels painful, not physically on her lips, but in her heart. For the first time, she feels a man kissing her in anger. Shortly after, she finds herself on the bed. She gazes at him, who now looks different, his eyes still sharp and his jaw still tense. If you're so easy to please, this time you'll find that the pleasure you seek can be quite painful. Fear. For some reason, this time, for the first time, Yin feels afraid of a man. On the other hand, Jungkook begins to climb onto the bed and approach her. Yin tries to smile, although she's starting to feel uncomfortable with the atmosphere Jungkook has created now. What's happening to my body? Why am I reacting like this? No, I can't give in and be afraid of him. Yin finally closes her eyes tightly as Jungkook is now directly above her. She tries to smile at him even though her heart is starting to shrink. Alright, let's do it. Besides, I'm curious about your size. Is it big or small? Can you only rely on your handsome face? Or do you also have the strength and stamina to match? Are you that curious about mine? You'll find out soon enough. Trust me, after this, you'll be screaming my name, and you won't be able to walk. Yin widens her eyes, cursing her foolish mouth for speaking without thinking. It seems she is about to face a lion this time. If you want to play with me, make sure you don't use your heart. Jungkook. Yin warns him while touching his broad chest as he gets closer, but after hearing her words, Jungkook just laughs softly and starts caressing her cheek with one hand. Do you say that to every guy you're about to sleep with? Unfortunately, this time, I'm the one warning you, Barbie. After we do this, make sure you don't think of me and my face when you're with another guy, or even your own boyfriend, because after this, I guarantee you won't be satisfied with any other man but me, including your playboy boyfriend. Yin was surprised yet delighted by his words, and after saying that, he immediately kissed her. showing his best performance. They continued for almost an hour, ignoring the fact that their siblings were eavesdropping on the sinful sounds as they soared together. Damn bro, what are they doing to make them moan so loudly? How wild is their game? Mark shivered, rubbing his neck as he spoke, while Lucas smirked, feeling a tinge of pity. For this reason alone, Lucas was not proud of his sister. Yin was very skilled at pleasing a man, and once he started enjoying her game, she would crush his hopes without a second thought, just to stay with her boyfriend, who enjoyed doing the same things as she did. Don't forget to tell your brother not to take this seriously. You know how my sister is, Mark, so I hope your brother doesn't get emotionally involved during this thing. Lucas's message sounded more like a warning. Mark could only sigh. He understood Lucas's point since they were the ones who often saw who Yin spent her nights with. Don't worry, my brother is like that too, although not as bad as your sister. This will only be a one-night stand, I'm sure of it. The two young men then went back downstairs. They asked the maids to prepare breakfast for them, while Lucas and Mark continued playing PlayStation in the living room. It seemed they really hadn't slept all night because they didn't stop playing games. They had only paused earlier out of curiosity about what Jungkook and Yin were doing in Jungkook's bedroom. Jungkook grabbed Yin's hand as she was about to leave his bedroom, his sharp gaze piercing through her large eyes. If you get drunk, call me, I'll come and get you. Stop letting random people touch your body. I'm so sorry, Jungkook. It looks like it will be hard for us to meet again in the future. My boyfriend is coming back to Korea tomorrow morning. Yin cupped his handsome face and gave him a farewell kiss. To Yin, her physical relationship with Jungkook was beyond her expectations. Jungkook was intoxicating, but Lee Han-sung would always be her top priority. Thank you so much for my incredible morning. Thanks to you, Jungkook. I've already ordered your car, and they said it would be delivered in 2 weeks. The moment Yin left, Jungkook felt a huge hole in his heart left by the woman. Jungkook was not usually a man to succumb to emotions. He had rejected many women, leaving them heartbroken. He had also had fun with many others. But with Yin, he felt that after their physical union, he had lost something that she had forcibly taken from him. A month later, it was unusual for Minju's club to be guarded so strictly. Jungkook had been visiting the place regularly to keep an eye on Yin. With his power and influence, he could have easily forced Yin to be his, but his goal was not to possess her body. He wanted her heart and love, which unfortunately belonged to the playboy Lee Han-sung. Unlike usual, tonight Minju's club had tight security with more than 6 large bodyguards standing at the entrance, busy scanning the barcodes on the phones of those trying to enter. Your QR code, sir. QR code? For what? The club has been fully booked by a VVIP tonight and only those with special invitations can enter. Perhaps you can come back another day, sir. Jungkook scoffed but chose not to cause a scene, even though he could easily take on the 6 guards. Instead, he decided to contact Minju and ask about the situation. He began calling Minju on his phone. An engagement party? Yes, Yin is hosting it to welcome her boyfriend back from Hollywood. From what I hear, he plans to propose to Yin tonight. Minju, can you get me into that party? Of course, I'll send you my QR code for access, but please, don't cause any trouble. I know you're very interested in Yin, but don't do anything rash. Don't worry. The call ended and shortly after, Jungkook received a message on his phone. Minju had sent him the barcode that would grant him access to the exclusive event. Jungkook's footsteps echoed as his eyes searched for the girl he had been longing to see for the past month. He finally spotted her, accompanied by a face he had seen several times on TV. His gaze met Yin's, causing her to stand up from her boyfriend's lap in surprise. From his vantage point, Jungkook could clearly see how they interacted. It was evident that the man wasn't satisfied with just one woman. Yin might be his priority, but there were many other women around him. Jungkook smirked mockingly at her. He stared intently at Yin, then glanced at each of the women surrounding her boyfriend. Finally, Yin saw Jungkook's lips move, forming words that deeply unsettled her. Stupid girl. After uttering those words, Jungkook immediately turned and left the club. Yin hurried to catch up with Jungkook, unsure why she felt compelled to follow him. She just wanted to ask him about the mocking smile and the words stupid girl he had directed at her. Looking for me? Jungkook's voice was soft as he suddenly stood behind her. Jungkook, come with me now. Without waiting for a response, Jungkook grabbed her hand and led her to his car. The dark, unguarded basement made it easy for him to take Yin with him, even though it resulted in a heated argument between them. They argued like a couple all the way down the street. Yin persistently demanded an explanation for Jungkook's uninvited appearance at the party, his mocking smile and calling her stupid. Jungkook responded with his principles about relationships which starkly contrasted with Yin's and her boyfriend's views, leaving Yin increasingly frustrated. What's your problem, Jungkook? It's not me who has a problem. It's you and him. There's something wrong with the way you both think. Then why do you care about our way of life? Yin's pointed question made Jungkook turn to her. He saw the tears streaming down her swollen face, her eyes glassy and her lips trembling. He knew that his words had struck a chord with her, touching on the awareness she had been trying to deny. He locked his gaze on her. Because I care about you, Yin. Don't you realize that the one who will suffer the most from your relationship in the future is you, or even the children you might have together? Jungkook's gaze was sharp, yet filled with an emotion difficult to decipher. He opened the car door and stepped out, then walked around to the other side, opened the door, and pulled Yin out with him. As they walked, their questions and answers continued to volley back and forth. Then why do you care about that? He stopped in his tracks and turned to face her. Because I don't want to see a foolish woman like you end up in a tragic situation like my mother. He forcefully led Yin back into his mansion. They were now in the living room, their argument still unresolved. Let me live my life, Jungkook. It's okay to go clubbing or get drunk until you're hungover, Yin, but not to sleep with random men, especially while still serving a boyfriend who constantly switches partners. You're destroying yourself, Yin. His voice growled lowly in the last few sentences. Mark and Lucas, curious about the commotion, approached the scene with PlayStation controllers still in hand. They peeked at Jungkook and Yin, who continued to argue loudly, oblivious to their raised voices. What are they fighting about, Lucas? They sound like a couple having a quarrel. Are they actually in a relationship? I don't know. It seems your brother has a problem with my sister and doesn't want her sleeping with random men anymore after meeting him. Did your sister get caught by my brother sleeping with another guy? Caught? What right does your brother have to be angry about that? Even Lee Han-sung doesn't mind when my sister sleeps with others. Mark now nodded, understanding the reason behind Jungkook's behavior towards Yin. My brother is really possessive. He will go mad if he finds out his lover has slept with another guy. The two young men exchanged glances. Meanwhile, Jungkook and Yin continued their heated argument. I'll be fine, because when I'm with Han-sung or any other guy, I never forget to take the pill and use protection. Yin stated firmly, feeling frustrated at trying to explain to Jungkook his unfounded concerns. She didn't understand why she felt the need to clarify everything to Jungkook, who kept cornering her like a jealous lover catching her in an affair. For some reason, Yin just wanted Jungkook not to misunderstand and continue criticizing her relationship with Lee Han-sung. Then, both Yin and Jungkook fell silent, remembering the incident from a month ago when they had unprotected sex. Jungkook touched Yin's shoulders, his gaze serious. When we did you take a morning after pill? No, I forgot. When was the last time he touched you? 2 months ago, before he went to Hollywood, and it was supposed to be tonight after the party. Since being with me, have there been any other men? This time, Yin shook her head quickly, momentarily easing Jungkook, but he continued to interrogate her. When was the last time you had your period? Last month, before we met. This month? I haven't. Her response was cut short as she began to feel anxious, realizing where Jungkook's questions were leading. Jungkook, get into my bedroom, Yin now. Why? I have to go back there. It's my engagement day, Jungkook. I said get in. Jungkook pointed towards his bedroom on the second floor with a chilling stare, causing tears to well up in Yin's eyes once more. Mark, come here. Jungkook's booming shout echoed through the mansion, startling all the maids. Jungkook was usually polite. They had rarely seen him raise his voice like this. Upon hearing her brother call, Mark and Lucas quickly approached Jungkook. Easy, bro. Jungkook glared sharply at the two young men before him. Go to the nearest pharmacy and buy various brands of test packs. Jungkook's command was direct and without hesitation. Test. What was that again? Test pack, Mark. Test pack. Hearing Jungkook, Yin's knees almost gave out at the thought of what she might find out in a few moments. A situation she never imagined could happen tonight. Sister, what's going on? Lucas gently wiped the tears from Yin's cheeks. Lucas, take her quickly to my bedroom. Mark, hurry up. Okay. Lucas helped Yin up to the second floor towards Jungkook's bedroom. Sister, why are you showing this side of yourself to brother Jungkook? Do you like him? Yin wasn't the type of woman to cry during arguments or fights with her significant other, but this time, she seemed shaken after clashing with his friend's brother. I don't know, Lucas. It's just that his words cut deep this time. Lucas pulled Yin into a hug, comforting his older sister as she struggled to hold back tears. It seemed Jungkook had successfully restored her sanity after their heated argument. Yin even acknowledged the truth in Jungkook's words about her. Jungkook sat on the edge of his bed, twisting a flat, faintly striped object in his hand. Occasionally, he glanced towards Yin. Earlier, he had been worried when their private doctor estimated the fetus's age in Yin's womb and its implications. But what relieved him was the timing aligned perfectly with their encounter. Yin had explained everything in detail to the doctor. Jungkook had called, discussing her contraceptive pill usage, contraception devices, monthly cycles, and fertility windows. Yin couldn't deny that since their encounter, she hadn't been able to enjoy anyone else's company. Embarrassingly, she found herself missing Jungkook and craving his touch, which felt peculiar to her. It's mine. Cancel your engagement with that man and stop sleeping with random men, Yin. My flesh and blood is in your body now. Yin felt trapped. What should she do to handle this situation? She had never been careless before, yet here she was in this state on the very night she should have received a commitment from the man she waited to change for. Lee Han-sung had called off their engagement as a turning point, agreeing to a healthier relationship going forward. After the engagement, Yin and Lee Han-sung could move on to the next step. Are you deliberately ruining my plans, Jungkook? It's your own carelessness. Yin covered her face with both hands. Her shoulders trembled as she tried to hold back tears, but sobs escaped her lips. You're making me out to be the villain, Jungkook. What will people say when they find out Lee Han-sung's fiancée is pregnant with another man's child? Jungkook walked over to his large bedside table, pulling out a thick brown envelope from the top drawer. Consider it my help in getting back at him. He threw a stack of photos onto the bed, pictures of a woman with a swollen belly and Lee Han-sung by her side. He didn't return from Hollywood because of work. It was because that woman gave birth. Jungkook watched as Yin inspected each photo, her beautiful round eyes now filled with tears streaming down her cheeks. He may love you, but he loves another woman just as much. Now, do you want to share his heart with her? How long are you willing to stay with a man like that? She's already one step ahead because she's had his child. Yin cried harder. 2 years together with that man had shaped her into this person. His first affair had shattered her heart, and subsequent actions had tested her patience. Yin began retaliating against him with increasingly erratic behavior. Yet, instead of jealousy or awakening, Han-sung grew even more audacious. Yin was tired of pretending, of being the only one trying to salvage their relationship and the one most hurt. She was fed up with it all. Yin wiped away her last tears for her first love. She took several deep breaths to regain her composure, then turned to face Jungkook, approaching him slowly and embracing him tightly. Jungkook. Please, ruin him. Destroy that man. What do you want me to do? Just ruin him? Or should I kill him? No need to kill him. Just make his life fall apart. Alright, starting tomorrow, I'll ensure he never gets a job again. All agencies will refuse to work with him. I want to see him suffer, to see him poor and ruined. Okay, I'll do it for you. Still holding Jungkook close, Yin smirked faintly. Now you're using me as an escape to destroy your ex. Upon hearing his sharp words, Yin lifted her head to meet his gaze, locking eyes with him. Of course I'm mad at him, and of course I want to get back at him. You've been the foolish one all along. That's why I want to get back at him. I've been foolish because of him. Fine, from now on, you have to be a smart woman because I don't like having a foolish wife, okay? Yin nodded quickly, smiling.